If you think you've still got a lot of places to see around the world, then you'll be surprised to know that it's just a drop in the bucket when compared to all the places that are submerged underwater. For thousands of years since humans started to build settlements, there have been numerous cases of these early civilizations being completely wiped out by tsunamis or volcanic eruptions. So it should come as no surprise that there are tons of ancient lost cities that quietly slumber away in the fathoms of the ocean. Join us today to discover 10 incredible lost cities that are found underwater. Here we go! Be sure to smash the like button, subscribe and click the notification bell for more amazing content. So, let's get started. Number 10. Antyrados. For our first dive, we visit Alexandria in Egypt, when ancient submerged city was first discovered in the 1990s. Everyone is aware of the famous city of Alexandria, which housed the Library of Alexandria, which was burned down, and the Lighthouse of Alexandria. But most of us wouldn't have heard of this island neighbouring Alexandria called Antyrados. When Alexandria was brought down by a massive earthquake and a tsunami that followed it, it took down with it this ancient island settlement which now rests beneath 10 to 20 feet of cloudy water. The city evaded the prying eyes of most of the modern world and remained hidden away until a French archaeologist by the name of Frank Goddio managed to narrow down its precise location. Various Greek historians and geographers have documented the existence of this island on ancient text, but the location remained mostly shrouded in mystery. Goddio managed to find Antyrados after studying ancient writings of Strabo, a Greek historian, who managed to provide a more precise location, but not exactly. With the effort of a team of divers, Goddio managed to finally find Antyrados sleeping under the sea. The exploration was successful, and the team managed to find a royal house belonging to Cleopatra and possibly her tomb, a small port with a shipwreck close to it, a temple dedicated to the Egyptian goddess Isis, and Mark Antony's unfinished palace. Needless to say, Goddio was successful in bringing Antyrados from the murky depths and to our attention. Number 9. Oluse. Life was good for this ancient port city of Oluse, situated along the Aegean Sea. The settlement was along a major trade route that connected northern Crete with the other islands in the region and the rest of the Mediterranean. They flourished between 3000 BC and 900 BC and became a wealthy port city in this part of the world. But Oluse also succumbed to Mother Nature and now rests below sea level. Archaeological dives have revealed that the city contains roads, basic buildings, and also a Hellenistic fortification which had a tower and a defensive wall. There's also evidence that the island had traded with the ancient city of Knossos and the island of Rhodes through the coins found here, which date back to 330 to 280 BC. Archaeologists have also found marble statue fragments, tombs, and a basilica from early Byzantine era, which points towards the fact that Oluse thrived during the Roman period. Experts still don't have an answer on why this ancient city fell below the sea, but it's most likely because of rising sea levels and possibly a catastrophic volcanic eruption at the nearby island of Santorini, which might have led to its end. Number 8. Fanagoria. Fanagoria was an ancient coastal settlement on the Taman Peninsula in Russia. Built by fleeing ancient Greeks from a war in Asia Minor, they founded this city around 543 BC. At its peak, it was one of the most influential port cities along the Black Sea. But Fanagoria didn't have an easy life and was invaded by foreign forces repeatedly owing to its strategic location. It however managed to pull through thanks to the support of the Roman Empire. But in the 4th century BC, Huns invaded and burned it to the ground, but Fanagoria managed to survive and came back to its former glory until the 10th century AD, when it was invaded by the Rus, which ultimately brought down this ancient settlement to its knees. The city was abandoned, but a newer city was built over it in the Middle Ages, and that too was abandoned later. When archaeologists stumbled upon the ruins of Fanagoria, they were impressed by the sight they saw. They found marble statue bases dedicated to Aphrodite, several gold and silver artifacts, and even crypts from 1500 years ago. Unfortunately, 1/3 of Fanagoria is underwater now because of the rising sea levels, but excavations are still underway for both the underwater segment and what's still accessible on land. Number 7. Port Royal. The Sodom of the New World, Port Royal sounds like a city which had its days numbered from the beginning. It was located on what used to be Jamaica's southeastern coast and was once known as the most wicked and sinful city in the world. You see, Port Royal was a pirate haven and was rife with prostitution, crime, drunkenness, and all kinds of vile acts. The infamous pirate Henry Morgan was a lieutenant governor in 1675 at Port Royal, so that should give you an idea of how bad things were here. But things didn't last long for this sinful city. On June 7, 1692, Port Royal experienced an incredible 7.5 magnitude earthquake, which essentially made the sand on which this port town was built unstable, resulting in the whole place sinking down into the Caribbean Sea. If that wasn't enough, waves of a tsunami came and wiped away most of the undestroyed part of the city. The entire episode killed 2,000 of its residents and destroyed 33 acres. But being the most sinful city of the time, these natural disasters didn't stop the opportunists looting and plundering whatever remained. I guess this was a fitting end to a colony which was lawless and overrun by pirates. Number 6. Atlet Yamat. Atlet Yamat is another example of an ancient settlement that met its watery grave because of rising sea levels. Situated in the Bay of Atlet on the Israeli coast, Atlet Yamat is one of the best preserved pre-pottery Neolithic villages which dates back 9,000 years. Marine archaeologists discovered this ancient settlement 26 to 36 feet below the sea level with an excavation lasting close to 20 years. The site revealed that the inhabitants were facing the threat of rising sea levels and adapted to this threat by adopting new technologies to deal with it. The settlement contains the world's earliest known freshwater wells and the remains of 100 different varieties of plants, which give an indication that the settlers had a well-balanced Mediterranean diet, allowing them to live an impressive age of 50 years, which was a lot back then. Archaeologists also found various bones of animals, fish, and domestic livestock. It seems Atlet Yamat had an economy which was a mix of agriculture and animal husbandry, along with gathering, fishing, and hunting. Another startling discovery found in this area were the numerous human burials which bore evidence of the residents struggling with disease, like tuberculosis and malaria. This discovery puts tuberculosis 3,000 years older than previously thought. Living with TB way back 9,000 years ago was almost certain death. Thanks to medical science today, we don't have to share the same fate as many Atlet Yamat residents who died from these afflictions. Number 5. Pavlopetri. Pavlopetri is a 5,000-year-old settlement situated in the Vatika Bay off Greece's Peloponnese coast. This Bronze Age city is one of the oldest of its kind in the world and the oldest known ancient Greek settlement underwater. It remained hidden until it was discovered by an oceanographer by the name of Nicholas Fleming back in 1967. He returned on a subsequent visit, but this time with his colleague and a team of archaeologists who were looking forward to map this ancient city. Through multiple dives, they were able to map out the entirety of Pavlopetri and documented various buildings, roads, and public squares. Recent explorations have further expanded our understanding of Pavlopetri thanks to the uncovering of thousands of artifacts, tableware, Minoan jars, and everyday objects, all of which give archaeologists a more concrete look into the lives of the residents. Experts believe that the city sank in the Mediterranean Sea during the first of 3 massive earthquakes which struck the area. Since the disaster, Pavlopetri has remained eternally frozen in time underwater. Number 4. Lion City. If you're familiar with the tale of the lost city of Atlantis, this one could be considered as the Atlantis of the Orient, though not as old as the former. Not all ancient cities are badly worn out by the flow of time and eroded by the elements. Some are almost as good to move in even right now. This is the case with the ancient city of Xicheng in Qunan County in Zhejiang, China. Also known as Lion City, the town was first established around 1,300 years ago, but now lies beneath 40 meters of water. This city wasn't flooded by some ancient tsunami, but by human actions in recent history. The Chinese government flooded the area surrounding Xicheng while making an artificial lake for a hydroelectric project in the region. Close to 300,000 residents had to be relocated to make this project a reality. The structures of the submerged city are still in good shape since it hasn't been long enough to decay and rot away like most other ancient structures. Divers who take trips down this lake are often surprised to see the overall good condition of Xicheng. The structures, including the wooden elements, have all stood their ground and not suffered much damage. Currently, the Lion City sits below sea level at a depth of 85 to 131 feet and is open to professional divers who want to catch a glimpse of how life used to be in this ancient city. Number 3. Mahabalipuram. Moving on to the Indian subcontinent, this next discovery was quite recent. Discovered by chance during a massive tsunami which hit the Indian coast in 2004, Onlookers at the town of Mahabalipuram in southern India were shocked to discover a row of granite boulders pop out of the Bay of Bengal briefly before being swallowed by the sea again. It took the Indian scientists a few years to take the plunge and explore this unexpected sighting. The National Institute of Oceanography took to the sea and found remains of an ancient port settlement at a distance of 800 meters from the coast and at a depth of 27 feet below the water. They found a 10-meter-high wall, a flight of stairs, several chiseled stone blocks spread across the seabed, and various structures. Since most of it was covered by underwater vegetation, it was difficult for the researchers to properly identify them. They, however, believe that these structures are at least 1,100 to 1,500 years old. Hopefully, they're able to gather more details about this submerged chapter of Indian history in the years to come. Number 2. Samina. Here is one of the world's first democratic settlements. Samina is a small fishing village located in the island of Kakova in modern-day Turkey. This Lycian settlement was one of the Lycian civilizations made up of a democratic union of various cities known as the Lycian League. They were considered as one of the first civilizations to follow a democratic system. Life near the coast in ancient times while being democratic sounds like a good life, but unfortunately, like all the other ancient cities on this list, this too succumbed to the sea due to catastrophic earthquakes in the area. The ruins of Samina contain a necropolis, a shipyard, church, temple, walls, and the smallest Lycian amphitheatre. However, there are still a few things from Samina that did manage to poke their nose above the water, like some of the homes and staircases. As of now, the only way of catching a glimpse of this sunken city is through guided boat tours, since the area is under protected status and on the tentative list to qualify as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Number 1. Dwarka. Meet the sunken city that could be as old as 9,500 years. The modern-day city of Dwarka is a holy city which is held in high regard in the Hindu religion, but Dwarka city has a far older version which was swallowed whole by the ocean. What was once considered a myth might be a real place after all. It's said that Lord Krishna, a central character from Hindu mythology, built up this ancient city using divine powers and is said to house over 900,000 palaces clad with silver and jewels. In recent decades, the Archaeological Survey of India's Marine Archaeological Unit has been on a mission to unearth and study this ancient city. The submerged ruins of ancient Dwarka were being found with stone sculptures, terracotta beads, stone-built jetty, and various objects made of bronze, copper, and iron. They've also found ancient inscriptions which have dated back to 1500 BC, as well as pottery which takes the date back even further to 3528 BC. But the actual age of this settlement, according to a few experts, pushes it way back to 9,500 years based on the last time when this particular area was above sea level. Pretty crazy to know that this site could be almost 10,000 years old. And that's the end of 10 incredible lost cities that are found underwater. Are you familiar with any of these locations? Let us know in the comments what you think of them. Before we let you go, be sure to hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Later.